Once upon a time, the world sat on the precipice of destruction. It didn't come from an apocalypse, an invading army, or nuclear bomb, but from the misguided ideology of its own people. This is that story.
In a land both far away and right below your feet, a coven of evil warlocks, disregarding their mantle of care for the people, supplanted the ruling families and national elect of the world, and plotted in secret toward a solitary desire to rule all. For 57 years, the kingdoms of every realm followed the lulling song of the beast. By day, they moved through their lives as their dreams were eroded bit by bit, and at night, their sleep was plagued with nightmares. The Dark Cabal was getting close to succeeding in destroying all the good of the world. Time was running out. They had to be stopped. They rejoiced as brother turned on brother, friend betrayed friend, countrymen fell sick, and the children died. It was the lunacy of the condition that had finally awakened the people. Their violent opposition to their implanted liberal ideologies made more of the denizens of the world realize they had narrowly escaped falling victim to the plot to enslave us all. Those that had persisted in living their values in the face of increasing ridicule and resistance determined that, even at the cost of their very lives, they would not allow the generations to follow to be as naive or as endangered. The number of quiet dissenters grew as a silent war raged between the factions, between the words. Those factions were made up of mercenaries hired or tricked by the evil ones, unwitting soldiers in the most vital conflict of their lives. But then came the Patriots, the citizens of the lands the Black Battalions had infiltrated, who chose to stand and reclaim the promise of their forebears. The warlocks, knowing they couldn't march on the capital of their enemies, began a psychological campaign so insidious, so cunning, that even when it had been revealed, those they'd brainwashed refused to accept it. Using social conditioning, they convinced the people that their individual liberties no longer mattered, that the needs of the world were more important than the need of their children to learn, honor, and continue their own heritage. They knew they could never win an outright battle with the sovereign peoples of the land, so they infiltrated. They used the popular elite to sway the people, and used their installed puppets to sway the law. As citizens turned into patriots, one after the other, they joined together in standing up to the hypocrisy, neglect, and destruction that the self-serving deceivers had wrought upon the land. The enemy tried in vain, but they could not stop the cutting artillery of truth from raining down, day after day, on the battlefield of lies. They soon realized their attempt to thin the nationalist ranks had only caused them to swell greater, as the people from all corners of the globe stood together in defiant demand that their voices be heard. Ordinary women and men became the valiant champions of this shadow war. Some rose through the ranks to inspire the legions of awakened patriots that would see freedom restored. Others became collateral damage. Guided by the king they had rallied to see seize the throne, who fought for freedom for all the world's people, and a round table of light that protected him and was made up of the most tenacious and clever strategists the world had ever known, these patriots paved the way for the final clash that would take place. In the kingdom of the people's king, the day would soon come where the dwellers of the land would choose whether the king that had brought them so far and cared for them so well would remain on the throne to see his legacy through, or whether the machinations of the sinister complot would prevail and plunge the world into social bondage once more. This was not just another selection. The result of this nomination would mean the difference between the world remaining steeped in misery, grief, and darkness, or bursting forth into the light of justice and true equality under the banner of freedom. While the patriots were at war for the vulnerable, the malevolent were at war for their very lives. They'd never seen the rise of the people coming. They never thought they could lose. For 4 long years, this concerted and bloody campaign endured, a campaign whose cost would be not limbs, but legacy. When the people that had been duped into fighting for the malignancy that had controlled them for so long were confronted by the truth, They either walked away from the lies and manipulation into the forgiving acceptance of the patriots they had once accused of being everything they had been tricked into supporting, or they walked alone, with none sane that would support them. Many unbelievable horrors had come to pass. Many who were so beloved were shown to be rotten to the core, and those who were vilified were vindicated. There were some that had been so damaged by the deception of the shadow agents they never recovered. The war came to an end on November 3rd, 2020. The king and his shining knights had destroyed enough of the darkness, and the patriots had awakened enough of the people that the realm was bathed in light once more, and the darkness no longer had any place to hide. There were some who thought the patriots would fail, some who simply hadn't realized what the patriots were fighting for. We fight to honor those that fought for us. We fight to preserve the values they stood for, the foundation they left us to build on, to continue the dreams they left for us to dream bigger. We fight to honor the fallen that will never be forgotten. And we fight so that our children know how to fight should the darkness ever return. There is a moral to every good story. This tale has a very simple one. What's real is what stays. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going anywhere.